All right, so welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We continue with the cricket, this time from the Indian Premier League. Sunil Narine and the Kolkata Knight Riders descended on the Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai to do battle with the struggling Chennai Super Kings in match 25. Centre back, the hosts struggled to 103 for 9 of their 20 overs. Shivam Dubey, 31, and Vijay Shankar, 29, offered some resistance as only 2 other batsmen got into double figures. Sunil Narine was the chief destroyer, bagging 3 for 13, with Harshit Rana and Varun Chakravarti taking 2 wickets apiece. In reply, the Knight Riders blazed to their target, reaching 107 for 2 in just 10.1 overs. Narine again led the way with an 18-ball 44. Fellow opener Quinton de Kock weighed in with 23, while captain Ajinkya Rahane scored 20 not out. The win now sees the Knight Riders leapfrogging RCB into third on net run rate, with both teams on 6 points. And here are the captains, CSK's MS Dhoni and KKR's Ajinkya Rahane with their post-match thoughts.
There have been quite a few nights that hasn't gone our way. What is important is to look deep down inside, so I feel the challenge was there, but what is important to accept that challenge, figure out ways how you will tackle the difficult deliveries and then look to get runs on the board. Today I felt we didn't really have enough runs on the board.
So we had our plans, I played here last 2 years, Moin played here, and DJ knows the conditions as well. Frankly, I thought wicket will play better. We didn't think it will be too sticky or our spinners will get that much of help. But again, credit goes to all the spinners as well as bowlers. But we had our plans. Prao and myself, we discussed something with the coaching staff, and that worked well for us tonight.
Narine, unsurprisingly, was named the player of the game.
Focus on what's my strength and try to execute as best. Yes, we know batsmen nowadays are brilliant, but I think if you focus too much on the batsmen, then you're already going into the game on the back foot. It's very simple, just trying to get the team off to the best flying start. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I think the role I get is just to go there and try to get the team off to a quick start, whether I do it or not. I just try to do the next game.
Nikhil is still with us. Nikhil, this was pretty one-sided in the end. I mean, it's not the heavyweight titanic clash of the past this time around. We kind of expected it. What are your thoughts on this encounter?
I've shifted inside, so hopefully the noise is not getting interfering. But this year, at least I know for sure I'm not missing the flight. I just have to curb my excitement a little bit. Look, it was a beatdown is what I want to say, a domination. When you think about going to Chennai, a place where traditionally it spins, it turns, and with that spin attack that KKR have built, we saw Chakravarti and Narine, the impact that they played in KKR winning the tournament in 2024. They've now added Moin Ali, which is quite a smart acquisition and underrated acquisition as well. And you're seeing the difference that they make. But for this CSK team, I think, look, they've had a mantra and a strategy, a blueprint over the last decade, really. Of backing experience, and they've tried it again this year. You look at the makeup of that team with obviously the guys they've retained, but who they brought in: Ashwin, Tripathi, Deepak Hooda, Vijay Shankar, guys over the age of 30 who have played in the IPL for a number of years, and it hasn't worked for them this year. And the batting, for me, when I look at it, it's their biggest struggle, and it doesn't help when you lose a guy that scored 583 runs last year in Gaikwad.
Yeah, and the issue that I have, that even though you mentioned that they do have the experience, the fact that they weren't able to navigate the surface, which was a little bit on the slow side, was a little bit surprising to me.
Well, the thing is that CSK's surface and that predicament seems quite interesting. Stephen Fleming has been very vocal in the media, saying that they don't have much control over the surfaces that they're getting, but also what is being prepared. So you would think, I mean, everywhere else around the world, when a home team is playing at home, you have some level of home advantage. But apparently, Stephen Fleming and his team don't have that home advantage. So clearly, they're struggling to read the surfaces, and they don't really have the batting equipped to be that adaptive and adaptable to varying surfaces. Tripathi was good last year at Sunrisers, very flat pitches. Deepak Hooda struggled at Lucknow on a similar type nature surface. Slow and spin friendly in Lucknow. So I don't think they built their batting lineup for their 7 home games. And I guess they would have been banking on Ravindra and Conway, who had a good season, or last good couple of seasons. He's been out of form. And then Gaikwad. But the one thing for me, guys, when I look at last year, they had 4 guys scoring over 250 runs, 3 guys over 300 runs. Obviously, Shivam Dube was good. He's there again. Gaikwad was the big one for them. But they lost Rahane, who was vital with bat in hand. He's on the opposition in KKR now. And when I look at that team, I think, who can score 250 to 300 runs for you? I don't see a lot of names ringing out at me. And I think that's been their biggest struggle.
Yeah, and Nikhil, you just referenced the fact that Ruturaj Gaikwad is out for the remainder of, well, they're without him today, but the news is that because of an elbow injury, he's now out for the entire season, it seems, and they would miss him a lot. But they did lose 4 straight before they lost today, which is 5 straight. So clearly, you know, even with him there, that had been a problem. They had this issue where they weren't getting the results.
And a few games they lost when he actually did get runs and got a few 50s. I think, again, last year, Dube was so good in the middle. And what Gaikwad did well is he's very good at maximizing the power play, going up maybe to 5th or 6th gear. And then he's able to tone it down just a bit. And they had power at the other end with Jadeja coming up the order, with Dube striking and scoring 396 runs. So there was not a lot of expectation and pressure on him. And he was able to sort of bat freely through the innings. Now, he's literally their standout sole run scorer. And I think he's probably feeling the burden of it. And forget that, you need more guys contributing. So even if he does get 50, 60, 70, they still need someone from the other end to push on the score and put pressure on the opposition. And they haven't got that this season.
And exactly how good was Narine today, Nikhil? Because he picked up 3 for 13 from 4 overs. Absolutely stunning in an IPL atmosphere. And then batted at a strike rate of about 244 in getting his knock of 44, 18 balls. How good was he?
I think the funny thing about his batting, right, Lance, I can never predict if he's going to score runs or if he won't score runs. It's just that type of nature where he will come at you. You can bowl one really good ball, whether it be a Yorker or maybe a bounce at neck height. You get him out, but if you don't, he does what he's done today. I don't think he'll have another 500-run season like last year, but I mean, if he plays these innings of high impact for them, they just need him to bat 15 to 20 balls in the power play. They have so much power with Ramandeep coming at 9. Russell's barely batted this season. Rinku Singh also limited opportunities. All he needs to do is bat half the power play and face 10 balls. And they know that if he's there for 10 balls, they're going to be, you know, at least 30, 40, 50 runs in the first 3 overs. And look, him and Ducott, albeit 2 left-handers, are making quite a destructive opening partnership. And it doesn't always work when you have 2 guys going, you know, this all-out attack approach, because you tend to be 2 down quite early in most situations. But with their batting and guys like Rahane and Raghuvanshi, who's not even in the team, but after them, more sort of those safer players, touch players who can bat through your innings, I think it works quite nicely for them. And look, they've got quite an adaptable team, but a very deep team when I look at their bowling options and, of course, the depth in batting.
Yeah, and is there something to be said about Sunil Narine's longevity, Nikhil? Because we remember that he was a part of the 2012 West Indies T20 World Cup winning team. We're 13 years on from that. He'll turn 37 years old in a couple of months from now. Never been an athletic kind of person, so athleticism hasn't been his game, which is part of the reason why even in his advancing years, his cool demeanor and his composure, both with bat and ball, you know, are working well for him. So I'm not even sure if we'd want to put a ceiling on when he would begin to think about retirement.
Yeah, spot on. As if I think about the amount of times people would have ruled him out, I think about, you know, the times where he had a couple of times where he had the trials and tribulations with the action and having to go and get it redone, have to sort of refine his action because he's been called. Many thought he wouldn't have the same potency, not be able to spin the ball as much. And he's just been able to evolve year after year. I mean, obviously a pitch like today suits him, but even when he goes to the Eden Gardens where they play cricket, I mean, this is one of the reasons why KKR have invested so heavily in him over the last decade, because in all conditions, even when it's flat and placid and very good for batting, he's still found a way to have that control. He's not the biggest wicket taker every season, but one thing you know you'll get from him is control. His economy rate has not been over 8 in 8 IPL seasons. So that speaks volumes, given what we've seen batting get to and the IPL pitches. But I think the way he's batted as well, last year, I could not believe the consistency he found with bat in hand, batting like that. So I think it speaks to his evolution as a player, and look, one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and as we reference the 5 consecutive losses for CSK here, real problems for their fans because they don't know how to digest what is happening in front of them because they're playing so badly. I just look at the highlights there, and there were some dollies dropped by KKR. And even with that, they still beat CSK very, very badly, which doesn't say much for the, well, which team is it? Villarreal? They call the Yellow Submarines in La Liga? Villarreal?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so these Yellow Submarines in the IPL appear to be submerged.
What I'll say, Lance, is that if there's one team, given what we see, I mean, the fact that they've won 5 times, I believe it is, off the top of my mind, this is the team with Stephen Fleming, the longest tenured coach in the IPL, MS as captain now. It's going to be hard because they don't have the batting quality when I look at their bench. Even the guys that are not playing, I can say can come in and make a big difference. But I wouldn't be surprised if they make a few tweaks here and there now going into maybe the next 3 or 4 games and find something that maybe can win them 1 or 2 games. And look, I'm going to put my hand up now and say I got it so wrong. If you go on my social media, you'll see I picked Chennai Super Kings to win the tournament. People will say, this guy knows nothing. Why did SportsMax bring him on? I agree. But the reason I had them so highly is because when I looked at the bowling additions that they made, Ashwin hasn't been anywhere close to his best. But I thought Ashwin, Noor, Khalil Ahmed, those 3 at the Che-Pop would be so difficult. And look, Khalil and Noor have bowled well. They're both in the top 5 wicket takers. It's just the batting. So if they can get someone to score that high volume of runs and fight their way to a high volume of runs, I think they've got one of the better bowling attacks in the tournament and enough to win, especially their home games, but even in other places in the country.
Yeah, Nikhil, take it from me. There's no one watching the SportsMax Zone that will say Nikhil Chandani doesn't know what he is talking about. I'm a little puzzled by your confidence in the CSK, but I would just leave it at that.
You should give him an opportunity to change his mind, though, because are you still picking CSK to win this tournament?
Oh, come on. Of course not, man. Of course not. I don't know. I was really big on their auction. I thought they had such a good auction with the bowling additions. Noor is always a great get. But I think I expected more from the experienced batters, and obviously I didn't foresee Gaikwad going down for the rest of the season. So I'll take that as maybe a bit of saving grace.
Yeah.
Now, it's tough to pick, boy. I really like the way Delhi, Gujarat, and Punjab look. I think either of those 3 could be really dangerous. But again, it's so early in this tournament. It's 2 months long. So Mumbai Indians with Bumrah bat, RCB have been a little hot and cold, but very dangerous. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
Ask me a little later on.
Yeah, and you are right. We keep saying on the show that the playoffs don't start on the 20th of May. So that tells you that there's still a lot of group play, or as they would say in the USA, the regular season remaining in the competition. And yeah, you are right. CSK 5 titles. Their most recent 2023. So they're celebrating championship success isn't in the distant future. It's fresh in their minds, which is probably part of the reason why their fans may be a little bit hard. It may be a little bit hard for them to handle what is happening for them now. But I believe that we can write them off because Gaikwad can't play for the remainder of the season. But I certainly expect them to improve as they just can't keep losing. That's not the CSK way.
I actually think that 2023 title you talk about, and that identity that they've played with for all these years around the world in the different teams, where they back players no matter what. When they picked Rahane last year, for example, many people were like, what? Why Ajinkya Rahane? And they were able to evolve Rahane into the player that he is now, where he's a revolutionized T20 batter. So almost I think that strategy has hurt them this season because they've gone back to the Jadejas, the Ashwins. Dhoni's been fine, but they've gone back to a lot of guys who are very experienced, but may not have the know-how and have not probably evolved the way that T20 batting and the IPL has evolved in modern days. So it may have hurt them, but let's see. Experience, they say, experience is always king. So we'll see. Let's see how it pans out for them.
Yeah, let's see. Thanks very much, Nikhil, for your time. I know that you have a flight to catch, and we wish you safe travel. And we'll talk again soon. All right, brother?
Anything for the SportsMax Zone, man. I'm really happy to be here with you guys. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, man. Yeah, so CSK out of the IPL.
Oh, they are? Oliver, you're not easy.
It's really difficult for them, though. And to be fair, I'm a little bit surprised by what's happening with them.
Yeah, they're not out yet, though. Mathematically, there's too much cricket left for us to say. But the issue for them is that, you know, you're not seeing in their game ways that they can improve, and especially with Gaikwad out for the remainder of the season. He's a top batsman, one of the leading scorers in the IPL last year. This is the first time in their history that they've lost 5 matches in a row in the IPL, and I think KKR's win today was the biggest margin of victory by balls in KKR's history. So there are a lot of things that are looking bad for the CSK at the moment. But we looked at the standings just now, and they have 2 points, which puts them just about 4 points off a playoff spot. Am I not right? Yeah. So, you know, it's not beyond them to rebound.
And I'm making this point because I think that they're so good. They're so good of a tournament team that all they need to do is make the playoffs, which means that they will be dangerous once the playoffs come around. Yeah, I mean, it's tongue-in-cheek when I say that they're out. But let's see. If they make the playoffs, they're obviously still a very dangerous team.
Yeah. And today, with Sunil Narine being named player of the match, he now surpasses Andre Russell for the number of man of the match awards that he has won in the IPL. He's now up to 16, leaving Andre Russell on 15, which says a lot for...
Is that the record? Is that the most?
No, it isn't the most. It isn't the most.
Oh, for KKR as well. Okay.
Yeah. So those are impressive stats there for Narine. Just such a cool customer. Nothing appears to bother him, and he was brilliant today. To be honest.
Can't believe he's 37 though.
Not quite.
Like he's aging you.
In a few weeks.
Yeah,
he'll be 37 in a few weeks.
I can't tell you that. Well, IPL live action continues tomorrow with a double header. Nicholas Puran and Lucknow Super Giants take on Gujarat Titans, and Sunrisers Hyderabad go up against the Punjab Kings.